Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Brian Sullivan with Out and About Nashville. As we enter into phase 2 of reopening, and all of the businesses in Nashville are putting plans into place and implementing those and trying to remain safe, we have a lot of questions from many sides about how this is going to work, what it's going to look like for commerce in Nashville. Just to give you the latest today, 3,872. That's the number of confirmed coronavirus cases in the Nashville area, 41 deaths. As of now, 23 million nationwide unemployed. There were 2.4 million unemployment claims just last week. And here to talk to us about how the businesses are coming together to reopen is CEO of the Nashville LGBT Chamber, Joe Woolley. Joe, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So one of the questions that many of us have had is, what has been the correspondence with you and members of the LGBT Chamber as far as guidelines and assisting them with reopening?
Well, from the start of the pandemic and the outbreak and shutdown of businesses, we have really just pivoted to all of our programming going online, and then keeping our members informed and updated on the changes that are going on. Advocate, educate, and connect is what we do, and now it's just focused those 3 areas around COVID-19 and the response to it. The biggest thing that we did was cancel membership dues for the foreseeable future while we're in the COVID-19 epidemic for our members. The last thing they need to be worried about right now is paying their membership dues, and we want to be there for them right now more than ever. And then when we get through this, and we will get through it, and hopefully everybody will be able to get through it together, we'll worry about membership on the other end. From that point forward, it's just been about getting as much information to them and opportunities to them as they can, and then offering that connection that we can offer to community members and allies. Education is key when it comes to responding to this. So filling them in on really important information about reopening or about opportunities. One of the things we heard back from so many members on is we sent out a discounted thermometer opportunity, and had so many were able to take advantage of that. And we look for different things like that all the time. The big thing so advocate, educate, connect. Lots of education going on. We expanded our Rainbow Connection programming. So Network Connect, Member Connect, Corporate Connect, all of our connection programs there. And then around advocacy, while the state legislature may have paused, and they're coming back in 2 weeks to go back into session, we'll be watching them carefully for anti-LGBT legislation possibilities to move forward. We have been advocating for our members, and to tie this back to this phase 2 reopening, advocacy in this way comes in the form of talking with the mayor's office and the health department as a business association like we are for our members. That started early by us pushing Metro government to close down businesses. That should come from the government, and it should give a blanket protection to our members to do it. Because if they close down because they're good corporate citizens or good business citizens, a person can go right down the street to a bar that might not be and might be open. So we really pushed that it needed to be across the county, and everybody needed to participate. Then it turned into advocating for certain types of members, at least getting their concerns and their issues, making sure those were being heard by the mayor's office and the health department. Most recently, small boutique gyms and hair salons were very concerned about where they were in the phased reopening that the mayor put out. They were in phase 3 and phase 4, and they brought some really good concerns and reasons why they might be moved up. And we made sure that that information got to the mayor's office, that those concerns reached them. And they were moved into the new phase 2 that we're entering into on Monday. So bars and hair salons will be reopening under different rules come Monday.
So you mentioned the Mayor John Cooper's guidelines, and the guidelines released to Out and About. Just for our readers' sake, I was going to go over a couple of these. Retail stores and commercial businesses may open at 3/4 capacity. Employees must be screened daily and wear masks. And it goes on to say down in those in the guidelines that any employee with a 100-degree or above fever, when they come in, must go home immediately. What are the, if any, and this may be a question for the legal team, but have you guys received any guidance on how someone would go about that? And would there potentially be an issue where someone says, that's a violation of my HIPAA rights, I don't want you knowing what my temperature is? Is that a thing?
I haven't heard it specifically about, HIPAA violations, because that's more to do with medical records and your medical records, when people have that and who has access to them. So it's a right to work state. Your employer can check you for a temperature, and they can let you go for any reason. So you should be screened if that's what your workplace decides to do. They can screen you. If they want you to wear a mask, they can have you wear a mask. It is, but you're hitting on something there, that it is a lot of work and responsibility for our businesses to take on, screening their employees, tracking all of that, as well as trying to run the business that they run. And that's really what we've heard from our members. Here's what we've heard from our members. It's really hard to stay going. We are facing financial issues. We need access to capital. We need a plan for reopening. Luckily, those things are starting to get worked out, and we do have a clear plan. Now it's implementing that plan. What they're saying now is, we want to do this right, and we want to be very careful. We don't want to put our employees or our customers in any type of danger. So getting it right with the plan is very important to them. So while they're trying to reopen and run their business, they've now been asked to screen and monitor their employees in a whole new light, something that they've never been trained or ready to do. So getting them assistance to do that, like I said, offering them the thermometers so they can scan their employees, but also their customers. There's a lot to take on in this reopening process for all of our businesses, but what I have seen and what I have heard from our members is a real sense of responsibility to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm. And businesses, if they need a thermometer or in need of any of that, can they contact you and you can point them in the right direction if they're a member of the chamber?
Yeah, we have been sharing all the information that we have out to our members. I just put out another email today. But we're putting our information out to anybody that would like to sign up to receive it. Membership is basically open to anybody right now, and we put out opportunities there. Sometimes we'll find discounted thermometers through the state, free masks have been given through the state, but then sometimes also opportunities. So different business associations have been able to partner together and get those type of resources out to businesses that are members of chambers and other associations.
If we can for a second, I wanted to ask you about restaurants and bars that are members of the LGBT chamber. It says that they can only operate beginning Monday, May 25th. They can operate dine-in service at 3/4 capacity, but are still expected to practice social distancing. What is some advice that maybe you have for businesses that are smaller in size? Because to do that, even many of them are not going to reach 3/4 capacity because they're so small, and if you space people out, it's just not going to happen. Many of them are afraid of not being able to make revenue because of that being so empty. Having to continue with the 6 feet apart. And for example, they said that you could put up shields or something like that. For the restaurant, some of them that are smaller, that might be very difficult. I
think what I've been hearing again from members and just broadly across the business community when it comes to bars and restaurants. And we should talk about those separately. So there's restaurants and bars that serve food, and then there are true bars. Bars are in phase 3 of the reopening plan here in Nashville. Restaurants were able to open in phase 1 at 50% capacity, and they're able to open at 75% capacity on Monday when we go into phase 2. The issue with a phased reopening of a restaurant, or a portion of a restaurant being open at 50% or 75%, it costs the same amount of money to run a restaurant at 50% capacity as it does 100% capacity. You can't cool, air condition half of the restaurant. You can't turn the lights on just half the restaurant. So business owners have a cost they have to factor in of opening up at half capacity. There's several other issues that come with that. Are your employees that you're going to bring back to work, are they going to make money? So what I have seen the majority of our members do that are restaurants is to wait until phase 2 or phase 3 to come back at a higher capacity. It's also given them time to get all of the things they have to do, like taking their employees' temperatures and the other changes that are specified in the plan, take time to get those done. So they have delayed reopening. We do have some restaurants that many restaurants have turned to the curbside service takeout model, and they're continuing to do that. And the few that I know of that have opened under phase 1 are still doing takeout, and then they've added that in, but they're being very cautious about it. You have to really think about how you're doing it and follow the rules. I have seen some restaurants that have opened, luckily not members of ours, that are not being socially responsible, that are not being responsible with their customers. And what I have been saying, and Mayor Cooper has been saying, and other leaders in the community that are able to talk to businesses, but also patrons, is if you are going to an establishment, you have a lot of personal responsibility as well. It's not just up to the restaurant. So bravo to the businesses that are following the rules and making sure their patrons are safe. Shame on the ones that aren't. But you as the patron have the most power in this thing. If you go somewhere that is overcrowded, it's your responsibility to get up and leave and go to a business that will follow the rules and work to protect you. It's up to you to wear your mask when you go into these businesses. And if they ask you to wear a mask, then wear a mask. I am not seeing the pushback from the LGBT community and from LGBT businesses and progressive businesses that are allies in following these rules. I am seeing them from another type of business, a more conservative business, or those that cater to a certain type of person. That's where the pushback seems to be coming. And we have worked really well with our businesses, and our businesses have worked hard to follow the rules and make sure they're being responsible.
So with the businesses, being able to partially open, are there any resources that businesses can turn to help them provide masks to the public and to their patrons who are entering their establishment, where they can receive that? Because I know a lot of businesses maybe want to have like boxes of masks that they can hand out to their customers and people who enter the store, but many of them just don't have the funds to do that, especially in this financial downturn.
I don't think they have the funds, and I also don't think that the stock is there for them to even go buy masks. I know several members that are looking for masks now to have their employees wear them or to give to their customers that might come in, and the stock just isn't there. So then again, I put it on the consumer that wants to go to this business. It's up to you to wear a mask. You can find one mask that you can rewear and rewash, and wear your mask. Don't put it on the business that you're going to give you a mask when you walk in. You should have walked into that business with your mask on. I don't think it's up to our businesses to hand you a mask to wear into their business. It's your responsibility. And
Sure.
bravo to the businesses again that are requiring you to wear one when you come inside.
Some of our members are of the community and who are part of the LGBT chamber, who are banks and lending sources. Is there any sort of collaboration in place for that to sort of help small businesses, and what can small businesses do to check on that?
So our community banks have been wonderful through the process. When all of this started and the EIDL loans, the EIDL loans, and the PPP funding from the government came out, where you're getting a loan from a bank, it's backed by the government, the Paycheck Protection Program. We work really hard with our members to find banks that would help get them their money. Some banks were not able to do it, and we were able to move them over to banks that were. There's been great collaboration and communication from the banks to the chamber, and the chamber to the community and our members, to say this is a resource. And what I've seen is the small local banks and the regional banks have been able to connect businesses to those funds better than some of the the bigger banks. But they're all working together. I have not heard of any stories of, we don't want to do a loan for you because you're LGBT. The access is definitely different. Like all marginalized communities, our access to capital and to recovery are hindered, and we've been working hard to try and level that.
What's some advice that you have maybe for businesses so that they don't fall prey to maybe borderline predatory lending, as far as having them incur even more debt than they already have because of this by super high interest loans? Are there some guidelines that they can use for that?
I've not heard. I mean, most of our members know that the PPP program was really the way to do any type of COVID relief, pandemic relief funding. The PPP loans come with clear rules on what it can be spent on. A lot of our members are gearing up to open up because it's tied to the reopening. You guarantee it's a paycheck protection program, so you bring your workforce back. And that's really, at least this week, so the email that we sent out today was about phase 2 reopening, what it means, and then new guidelines on the PPP loan forgiveness program. So there's new guidelines out from the SBA and the federal government on classifying and categorizing what you spent that money on, making sure that the loan can be forgiven. And if it can't be forgiven, they're all locked in at low interest rates. That was part of the entire CARES Act, the Paycheck Protection Program.
Sure. Okay. Well, as far as businesses receiving information, we know that some of the guidelines, what I'm hearing from some businesses is that some of the guidelines have changed drastically, and they haven't found a central location that's a good spot to get information. There's sort of one person, business owner that I talked to today, said that they felt like they had to hunt down the news station or the news report, fact check it, to sort of get the information that they need on reopening their business. Is there a central location for news regarding reopening that you would recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I'd tell them or ask them to become members of the chamber, or just follow us and get your news and information about reopening from us. We'd love to help you do that. You can go to the Nashville LGBT Chamber's website. We have an entire COVID-19 section that we created as soon as this happened, and we put all of the information and updates that we come across and that are out there on that site. We have multiple blogs and informational resources. We have an entire educational library of webinars that deal with PPP funds and loan forgiveness and running your business virtually and opening up. We have done some webinars ourselves, but we don't want to recreate the wheel. there were so many webinars out there around Paycheck Protection Program that we shared them, and we're connecting the community that way. There's plenty of resources on our site. And I have to really thank the mayor and commend the mayor on the information that the mayor and Nashville have been putting out on all of this. The guidelines, I think, are very clear. You can go to the website asafenashville.org, and that has the entire Nashville COVID-19 response. Information is broken down in infographics and very easy, digestible information. And then there's a lot of information there behind it that you can find. And he has done a great job of leading us through this. Plenty of information out there. I would say I get how much information is out there and coming at people. When it comes to business and getting through this, I would say your business associations, the chamber is here for you, and we're a great resource to find out what you need to know.
Is there some concern with some of the different businesses, for example, massage parlors, salons? How does a business like that practice social distancing when there's so much touch involved?
I think everybody's watching what others are doing and waiting to see what those industries come up with. Those industries are in clear phases of the reopening plan, so that they're reopening at the appropriate time. Bars, clubs, karaoke bars, tours, adult entertainment, transportainment, live entertainment are all in phase 4. Other salon and spa things are in phase 4. The state has even phased those out, which have much more loose reopening plans than Nashville does. I'd say that it is scary. Try and look at the guidelines and look at what other people are recommending and doing, and definitely follow it. And again, if a business is not following the rules or following the reopening plan or are packed or are not taking things seriously, it's up to the consumer that is going to that business to go somewhere else. They are putting your health in jeopardy. Take it seriously and find a business that will keep you healthy.
I was just looking at this in Mayor Cooper's phase 2 plan. Gyms and high-touch businesses like hair and nail salons may open at half capacity, but there doesn't seem to be in this graphic that was released, there doesn't seem to be an explanation. But I believe that it goes on to say on this that there are certain guidelines just to protect everyone involved, to protect both the employees and the patrons. And there's an article on Out and About for the readers who are watching. They can look that up and gather that. One more thing I wanted to ask: what has this been like for you as a group? Has membership gone up? Has it gone down? Stayed the same? How has it been going through this crisis?
As I stated at the beginning, our first concern is getting our members through it. We are nothing without our members, and so that's why we put membership on hold. The chamber is lucky enough to be in a good financial situation due to, being very conservative and fiscally responsible with our funds in the past and what we spend money on. So we're able to bear the brunt of not collecting dues and serving the community for a short time. And that's what we're doing, because we've got to get the community and we've got to get our members through this. It has been tough. The chamber is a very social organization. Our jobs are very social. It's been hard for me personally as an extrovert and somebody that enjoys the meeting and the handshake and talking with people, to sit in this room all day long and talk to people this way and come up with new ways to engage and connect our community. But we've done that, and I'm really proud of the work and the programs that we're putting out there. It's all about taking care of our members however we can. So advocating for them, educating them on all the different things that might help them get ahead, and connecting them. We're getting ready to do our Brewing Up Business, which is how the Chamber started 22 years ago, as a networking organization for people to meet and trade business cards and do business with each other, and we're keeping that going virtually, and I'm really pleased with how that's gone and turned out. We are looking at the road ahead and what the future looks like. I think spending will be down everywhere, from our corporate members to our small business members, and I hope they see the value of a LGBT chamber membership now and in the future. I hope we will show them that value of why membership is important, and keep them on. I'm really proud of our board of directors and my staff. Lauren Bland, our membership manager, has been working really hard. We put out a survey to members and said, "Are you open? And if you are open, what are your services? And tell us how you're reopening safely." We had a huge response to that survey, and we have posted, every member that sent us in an answer, we've posted on our website that they're open. And I would implore everybody to frequent those businesses that support equality, that support the LGBT community as we go through this. They need your support now more than ever. And really look at it for Pride Month. We're just a few weeks away from June. We're not going to have a Pride Festival, but we can still celebrate Pride, and we can spend our hard-earned dollars with businesses that support us. So look for that out, LGBT Chamber membership sticker that says "Open and Equal" in windows, and look for it online and support those that support us.
And they can get a list of those businesses at NashvilleLGBTChamber.org.
They can, yeah. We have a membership directory there, and you can find everybody that's a member of us, and again, all the information that we've talked about here today about reopening and access to any type of information that can help you get ahead.
Joe, thank you so much for taking the time with me today. Anything that I didn't ask that you would like for our readers to know?
No, I mean, I think we covered a lot. Stay informed, and I just can't stress enough to people that it is your responsibility to keep yourself safe, to help keep other people safe. I'm really proud of our community, because I just don't see the pushback from our community that you see in other areas of our broader community on the pushback with this. You didn't see anybody complaining or protesting when they canceled the Pride parades. You don't see people, upset that they have to wear a mask in a store. The LGBT community understands this and gets this on how important this is. Taking care of one another. That's what we do. We care about each other, and we take care of one another. And these guidelines are to protect us and our brothers and sisters. So stay safe, wear your mask, and again, frequent those businesses, those chamber members and ally members that are supporting our community.
Thank you so much, Joe. Everyone, for more information about the Nashville LGBT Chamber, you can go to NashvilleLGBTChamber.org. And for more stories like this, you can log on to outandaboutnashville.com. Joe Woolley, CEO of the Nashville LGBT Chamber, thank you so much.
Thanks.